Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Pasch podcast. Let's get started with your host, Brian Pasch.
Hi, this is Brian Pasch, and welcome to another podcast session. Today, I have the opportunity to sit down and speak with Ford Kirk from CarWars and talk about the latest innovations in their call management platform and call coaching system. Ford, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Brian. Excited to be here and excited to speak with you this day as well. You know, it's been a minute since we've connected on one of these, so excited to do it again.
Yeah, and the great thing about our industry is that things are always changing. So the companies that are growing, bringing new products to market, it's always good to have them back on, especially since thousands of dealers use the CarWars platform. Ford, before we get started, give everyone a little background. What's your role at CarWars? How long have you been there?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been with CarWars for 5 years now. Feels like just a week, but years go by fast, as they say, and it's been awesome. So right now I focus on a biz dev role where I work with our existing partners, look to seek new partnerships and help foster those relationships as well. So not necessarily working with directly our dealers, but adjacent to our dealers, whether that's CRM, whether that's agencies, whether that's mutual partners, whatever way we can help assist those dealers or our dealers is where I really fit in that niche that I kind of fit.
Love it. Love it. Well, let's jump in. So dealers should know about the CarWars platform, but let's just start from the beginning, Ford. If a dealer wasn't aware of what CarWars does, if you had an elevator pitch, what would you tell the dealers who are listening today?
Yeah, absolutely. So at the end of the day, we know that the phone is really important. So we know how important that is, but a lot of times it's overwhelming. Sometimes our dealers come to us and they say, hey, we know that the phone is something that we need to care about and we do care about. We just don't have enough time. Time might be the biggest competitor that we see in the space. So that's where the niche we look to fit in is we say, hey, we'll take that ownership and help you own the phone at the dealership. So we'll say, hey, here are every single phone call that you've received at your dealership. Here are how many were sales opportunities. Here are how many that were not handled properly, delivering alerts, delivering all this data into CRM, and giving them complete insights from either a macro of, hey, here's the past month, or even on a micro, here's the morning, here's how the BDC handled your phone calls this morning. So taking away, I don't know what's happening, and giving them true value-driven data of where your phone calls are coming from, which paid ads, which marketing sources, which marketing channels, and then also saying, here's how they're handled operationally. So now you can go in to a meeting, to your GM's office and say, hey, here's where we're actually struggling. Here's where we need to double down on marketing and be able to make those informed decisions just because you have that insights on how every single phone call is being handled now.
Well, listen, we know more than ever that with the low inventory levels, we're going to talk about that later, that consumers are well aware to call the dealer to see what's in stock, what is the reality of even ordering. I mean, I was just talking to a Buick GMC dealer yesterday, Ford, and he was saying that cars that he ordered in December of 2020 came in October of 2021. So he's like 9 months, and now for some brands they're getting close to a year back order. So the phones are so important. It seems like we continually talk about it, but dealers should know that CarWars isn't just about call coaching and scoring, but of course it does that. You're also helping them be more efficient with their time. And you have 2 new product enhancements that were just announced. I want to dive into them because the dealers who listen to this podcast are doing so because they always want to stay up to date with the latest in tech. Let's talk about Sales Alert first. How does Sales Alert save dealers time and money?
Yeah, absolutely. So So this is part of our partnership with Urban Science. So Urban Science collects data from OEMs on those sold vehicles or sold specific vehicles. And that data is super valuable because we're able to then collect that data from Urban Science and ingest it into the call data that we have on the CarWars side. So we'll say, hey, if this caller called yesterday or last week about a potential buying a vehicle, and then we see that they actually bought the next day or soon after that, we'll tell the dealer or tell the dealership, hey, this is a customer who's already purchased, and save them time and energy on chasing that lead who's already purchased elsewhere and not looking to buy a vehicle anymore. So it's really just makes it efficient. It gives them not just, hey, here are your most important leads, but here are your most important leads that are in market. Here are your leads that are no longer in market, and funneling those so that a dealer can have clarity on where they need to focus that time and energy.
Yeah, well, listen, that's a big opportunity, especially for dealers that have a high number of leads. I don't know if you have any data yet, but Ford, when they're using that sales alert, is it 10% or 20%? What type of cleanup is actually happening in these lead pools?
Yeah. So this is still pretty early. So we don't have definitive data that I could say, hey, this is the percentage we see. But what we do see, and what the biggest lift is, it's no longer that chasing game. I think every dealer can relate to the BDC manager who says, hey, we've had these leads, we followed up with every single one of them, and half of them are out of market, or a third of them might no longer be looking. So just allowing to put that time back into the BDC's hands or back into a sales manager's hands, so they no longer are needing to follow up, has been or will be kind of the biggest lift immediately. But we'll continue to collect data. This is a new advancement, and hopefully we'll be able to provide some of those more percentage-based and broad speaking insights once we collect a bit more. But right now, we're immediately seeing just a lift there in that ability for them to say, okay, here's where I can focus my time. Or if I only have 30 minutes here, I don't have to just eeny, meeny, miny, mo, pick out who to call back, but I now know exactly who I should be focusing on.
Well, that's fantastic, because no one in the BDC wants to chase ghosts. They want to talk to people. Many of their pay plans are based off of appointment setting. So if they're chasing people that are already out of market, those people aren't answering that phone. They're just,
right.
Hitting hang up or just not responding to voicemails. Now, there was a second product that I'm also excited for, because again, we're using data smarter, data in real time. Let's talk about the Traffic View product and how dealers who are on the CarWars platform can leverage that.
Yeah. So again, this is another portion of that partnership with Urban Science, where we're using or leveraging data with Urban, where they are going to give indicators of previous sold customers that aren't at your dealership. So these are lost customers, or customers who bought elsewhere, and going to give data-driven findings of where that kind of detractor or defactor was for that purchase. So it's going to tell you by lead source, model, salesperson, and geography of where that customer ended up buying, to help pinpoint those driving defections to your competitors, or to give you insights on why they might have gone with a competitor. So that's going to give you kind of a complete story of that customer and empower you to make more timely decisions from your operations and marketing spend. So giving you even more firepower for now those data of, hey, I wonder why they went elsewhere, or I wonder why they purchased at a different dealership. It's going to give you some more of that rich data in the CarWars platform for you to be able to see that.
And now let's take this one step further, because data for the sake of data doesn't really help dealers improve. I guess I would look at it in two different ways, Ford. If I'm a Chevy dealer and somebody eventually buys a Mercedes, I may not feel as bad as if I'm a Chevy dealer and they decided to go down the street to another Chevy dealer, right? Is that
Right.
how you're seeing it? Like, you may not be able to prevent brand defection, but you shouldn't be losing sales to the same brand. What's your thought? What's your team who's building traffic view, coaching for dealers, saying?
Yeah, I think that you hit the nail on the head. If they decide that they were looking at, say that you had an F-150 on the lot that you thought they were interested in, and then they went out and they bought, an Audi A5. That's not necessarily one that you might have had, a lot of insights on, or not known why they might have done that. But it's also not one that, okay, they went and bought a Chevy Silverado at my competitor across the street. I think that you're exactly right. I think it gives more insights onto, okay, was this, a pricing discussion, or was this a model specific decision that they went with? But instead of now logging into your CRM, or just logging into CRM saying, lost lead, you can now definitively say, oh, they bought an Audi, or they bought something similar. And now you still know, whenever you're re-going through your leads in CRM, you can say, okay, if they previously purchased this, maybe they're in the market every 5 years, or maybe they're in the market every 10 years, whatever that might look like on your side, and just giving you a little bit more leverage to understand, okay, what are their buying tendencies? What are they looking for? Is it vehicle make, model, or is it proximity, or is it price? Giving you more insights that weren't available before, when they might have just said, oh yeah, we purchased already, if you ever got them back on the phone. But now you can say, okay, they purchased, but here's what they purchased, here's maybe why they purchased, and then enabling you to have that in a larger view, where you can say, okay, a lot of our customers who initially came here are actually buying elsewhere, because we're seeing that the price that they bought at, or the model that they bought at, is typically priced lower. So, okay, is it the pricing, or okay, they actually bought and they, had a really good, salesperson or interaction with that team. Maybe it's more operations focused that we need to double down on training or follow up. So giving them those insights on a micro for one individual, but also macro. Are we seeing trends? Are we seeing consistent reasons why they're buying elsewhere throughout the market?
That makes sense. I mentioned early on that most people initially saw CarWars as a call coaching, but we have a call telephony platform for routing calls, identifying process problems. But when we think of call coaching, how is CarWars helping dealers talk about still getting appointments, not losing sales opportunities when inventory is so low? Is there anything that you're helping dealers who are just, hey, they're as frustrated as everyone is with low inventory? How can you help them handle those phone calls better that oftentimes are disappointing?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So we definitely get that question a lot. And we've actually put together a virtual phone training program that actually focuses on that exact objection, or that exact instance, a challenge that dealers are going through right now. When inventory is low, how do you handle a customer who's calling in and saying, hey, is this available? And it might not be available anymore. So we have word tracks, we have scripting, we have role plays that all go into that on the training modules to help adapt you, or to help arm a BDC or a sales agent or sales rep on how to best overcome that objection or overcome that challenge, and still book an appointment, or still provide an opportunity to win that business. So we're excited about that. It's called our CRISP certification, and that's something that we have rolled out this year as that phone training module and that phone training performance. And a lot of our dealers have found success leveraging that because it's a continuing education, continuing learning program that gets updated and keeps the entire team, from managers all the way to agents, in the loop on any new scripting, wordplay, or word tracks that can be leveraged and used on a day-to-day basis.
Great. And so let's flip the script for a minute. And there's a brand new movement that I've been following of AI being used to either be the first front line for service booking or as an overflow when the service BDC has too many calls. Products like Brook AI from Proactive Dealer Solutions, Stella.ai. So how is CarWars grading, or can you recognize the difference between, a call that's taken by one of the employees of the dealership versus one of these AI assisted appointment setting platforms? And second part to that question, how are they doing?
Yeah, no, that's definitely a question that we get on our side, and the short answer is we've built out our technology to now be able to assess when it's an artificial intelligence or an AI interactive system that's handling the phone call. So we'll have our reviewers, or our review process will say, yes, that was handled by either a person or a system, and yes, they were either helped or they had that appointment booked. So we're able to now identify that. So what we've found is that they, on the service side, on the fixed side, it's more common, and they actually do very well. They're able to essentially book appointments, or it's intuitive enough for the caller to be able to book an appointment with when it's a system like an AI based solution. But what we've found though is they might do a great job on booking the appointment, but if there are points of failure down the line, so where we really see this is on status updates. So if the status updates are not updated, by the techs or the advisors, then when the AI looks to check that, they might not see anything, or they might not have anything to provide an update on. So knowing where those points of failures are before just implementing AI for the sake of AI can actually help and ensure that it's the right decision to make. Because if you're just going to kick the can on, okay, we'll put in this AI feature because we can't even handle phone calls, but if you can't even continue to make updates or check when those scheduled appointments are, or make sure you have enough advisors working that day to even handle that influx of new customers or customers who are coming in, then the AI is doing its job. But then down the line, or later on, there might be some intricacies or points of failure that aren't accounted for. So that's what we've seen initially from the phone scheduling. It's pretty great, or it's pretty spot on because of the ease of use. But knowing how the operations work on a day-to-day basis, paired that together, really helps out.
Yeah, I saw a stat that CarWars put out that call volume from 2020, 2021 increased 15%, but the call connection rate was still at 61%. So now I understand why, products like Brook and Stella are great solutions to help reduce the labor factor and the reliability factor, because they're not calling out sick. But it'll be interesting to see, Ford, when a dealer of yours has really good process, the right staffing, they're using your monitoring tools, and they have something like Brook or Stella in place. It'd be very interesting to see what, might be the case for saying, hey, this is an ideal connection rate that also minimizes labor cost.
Right. No, I agree. And I think that we'll continue to see some dealers go towards AI and some go the opposite, as this continues to trend, and volume and staffing continues to be a challenge. But one thing that we've continued to see is that there has been additional focus on the fixed ops side, and that a lot of our dealers who either have lower inventory or have lower staff availability on sales are really doubling down on making sure their fixed op process and their fixed ops teams are handling every single appointment opportunity or repair order timely, efficiently, and effectively, so that they continue to produce that revenue from the fixed side, and can continue to put positive numbers into the dealership, or show high CSR scores through fixed ops specifically.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more that maybe this lack of inventory, which is generating some amazing profits, maybe it's time to really look at these fundamental core retailing infrastructure investments that need to be made, and to really make sure that customer loyalty is a priority. Because if you've been following some of the things I've been writing about, I'm concerned that the OEMs may want to marginalize the role of dealers and turn them more into order centers. And more than ever, dealers have to show their value, show amazing customer support, so that the customers of the OEMs really demand a strong local dealer support presence. And that's not going to happen if they have sloppy phone processes, correct?
Right, exactly right. Yes, I completely agree. There's always that, your comfort level of, okay, this is someone in my backyard, or this is someone from my town who I'm working with. I can build that rapport with, that relationship with, and the lifetime value of a customer, it really can be grounded in service. If you have a great experience in service year after year, when it's time for you to upgrade or get a new vehicle, you're much more likely to go to that same dealership and buy a new or a certified pre-owned from that dealer, since you've had all that great success on the service side, and vice versa. When it's someone buying a brand new vehicle and they're looking to service it, you always want them to service it at your service drive. So that creates that cyclical cycle of a customer for life, and not just a one-time customer, which I think is even more important in this day and age, where there's all this information online where they can find a car from pretty much anywhere that they might be interested in. But if you have that emotion driven and that emotion connection between the customer and the dealership, it can really create that, customer for life, like I mentioned, and have that customer consistently buy and consistently generate revenue for you.
Yeah, there's something to say, Ford, in today's fast-paced modern retail environment, that little simple things like a handwritten note on a birthday or an anniversary go a long way. I know that there's a jewelry store that Carrie loves, and we've bought there a few times. And the woman who's always taking care of us, she will send us a note on our birthdays, handwritten. She'll send some flowers on our anniversary. And I'm not talking about cheap flowers, like really nice flowers. And, when I think of jewelry, before I, would consider shopping somewhere else, I'd always give Monica the first shot. Like, it'd almost be like I'm cheating on Monica,
Yeah.
But, the truth of the matter is that customer loyalty and brand loyalty is at an all-time low, because we've not taken care of those initial touch points, and then looping back and thanking people. The value of a well-trained person calling someone who's a customer with the right word at the right time goes a long way. And of course, CarWars platform can help manage that whole process. Ford, if a dealer wanted to get a updated demo, especially to learn more about the Sales Alert and Traffic View platform, where's the best place for them to book a demo?
Yeah, absolutely. So carwars.com, we have you can book a demo, you can dial in and book a demo there, but that's probably the easiest. Obviously available on LinkedIn as an avenue if you want to connect there, and we can set something up. But we're definitely open to any means of communication to receive those inquiries. So carwars.com, like I mentioned, has the easiest, most direct, but anyone who works at CarWars is happy to help out, whether it's on the consulting side or the sales side. We're all kind of united to provide any insights or answer any questions that you guys or any prospects might have.
Great. Well, love that. And for everyone who's listening to today's podcast, you should know this is part of a series called The Road to DMSC, the Digital Marketing Strategies Conference. Once again, is in the Napa Valley, May 22nd, 23rd, 24th. It's the 12th year we're doing the conference. dealers look forward to this conference because of the rich content, the intimate setting, and the high level of engagement. So if you're still considering whether or not you should get out to DMSC, you need to book your tickets right away. And don't be surprised if the Marriott sold out. Right next door is the Hilton Garden Inn. It's literally 300 yards away, and you can take a quick walk out one door into another parking lot and you're there. But it is going to be a complete sellout this year. And CarWars, once again, is sponsoring dealer education and this event. So make sure you go to digitalmarketingstrategies.org and take a look at the agenda, get your tickets and get booked. Join me and Ford and the CarWars team out at DMSC. And if this is the first time you're listening to one of my podcasts, you should know that I regularly interview automotive leaders, disruptors, and people who are out to help improve automotive retail, and the team at CarWars is truly qualified in that area. So make sure you listen to the dozens of podcast sessions that I've published because they're there for your education. So I hope to see some of you in the Digital Marketing Strategies Conference audience in the beautiful Napa Valley at the Napa Valley Marriott. And if not, I look forward to spending time with you again on another podcast session. Thank you for listening in today.